Hello and welcome. Sorry for the internet issues. I knew something was going to happen today. I had a bad feeling, and then about 5-2, bang, the internet goes. But Kuva is still here. Kuva is not internet dependent. He is always that beautiful. How are you, sir?
Doing well here. Just looking
Good.
forward to winter and get rid of the rest of this rubbish weather.
Oh God, do you know what? I love the sun, but when I'm on holiday, right, like when flip-flops, pint of beer in a cold glass, they give you, that's me. Not this. This is baffling. So Kuva, today we're going to talk about a certain subject. Do you know what it is?
Is it mangoes?
Absolutely, mangoes. Tottenham Hotspur mangoes. That's what we're going to talk about. Kuva, Tottenham Hotspur. We play tomorrow. Are you confident? Are you 3 points at home to Wolves?
Yeah, we've got to turn this one around, haven't we? I mean, we're talking about, like you and I both agree, it's not exactly an inspiring transfer window unless we pull some rabbits out of the hat at the end. But we have made enough to turn over Wolves. That was a dreadful result last season. Worst we played in ages. We've surely got to improve on that and just keep that momentum going of reversing these bad results from last season.
Yeah,
another win tomorrow, and that's 7 points made up out of the 0 we got off those corresponding games last year.
Or, as I said the other day, 2 points less from the first 3 games last year. Bring back Nuno.
Yeah, bring back Nuno. Yeah.
Bring back Nuno. Hands up in the comments. Who would like to see Nuno back after Conte leaves? Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, there's all different ways of looking at football, and that is the beauty of this game, I suppose. What are you expecting to see? Look, by the way, everyone in the comments, hello. I can see you all. I will get to comments. Please put questions in. This is a Q&A show, so ask Kuva and I anything you want. And then in 10 minutes' time, I will stick the StreamYard link into the comments. I will pick people who have their video on, who have a name. And please, if you come on, have something that you want to discuss. And if I can't get you on, please don't be offended. It might be there's too many on, or et cetera, et cetera. Kuva, Romero is out. Depending who you listen to, it could be anywhere from 4 years to 4 days, depending on which report you want to listen to. It's straight swap for Longley, Sanchez. What are you looking for?
Is Longley even fit? I don't think he is he?
I'm not sure.
I mean, the obvious one to come in is Sanchez, isn't it? Because it's on the right-hand side of the 3. So he is the natural fit there. He did okay in a few games last season, so I won't be panicking yet. But if we're not seeing the likes of Perisic starting, and we're not seeing earlier involvement of the likes of Richarlison, if things aren't going our way, you start to worry about what the plan is, because otherwise we're just looking like same as last season, really, aren't we? Just hoping for the likes of Emerson and Sessegnon to suddenly improve. Although
what I don't want to see, Kuva, I don't want to see Perisic not start again, and then fans still backing this. Fans going, oh, well, Conte's got to play. No. You bring in Ivan Perisic, right? You've got to play him, haven't you?
Yeah.
Surely you've got to play the guy.
I mean, he's not one for the future, is he?
No.
And you're not bringing him in like at the end of his playing career just to be a mentor to the others. He's got to have game time. I mean, he's too good a player not to. So,
he's younger than us.
Yeah, I'll just about, yeah.
He's younger than us. We're calling, he's old. He's at the end of his career.
Nah, he's a fit chap, is Perisic. Yeah. He's always kept himself in shape. Notable when he did come on as well, you could see the pace and the acceleration straight away, as well as the quality. He's got to start for me. Other than that, it's relying on a lot of the same faces. I'd love to see Basuma start in a game as well. Question is, how are Wolves going to line up? Because it looks like they're going for a more attacking formation this season. Well, the way they've got rid of Connor Cody, so they're going more of sort of 4-3-3 instead of that sort of 3 at the back formation. So that could be interesting. Could give us a bit more room. it could also swamp the midfield, which we've struggled with before, as we did against Chelsea. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? They've got, when you look at it, they've got a lot of tricky players, the likes of Neto, Podence, like Ruben Neves, Guedes that they've just brought in. I don't know if Nunes has registered in time. I believe he had to register by today at midday to be eligible for tomorrow. But lots of skillful, tricky players. But is there... So I expect them to have a lot more possession than what Southampton did at our ground. But is there the goal threat to worry us?
With our defence, yeah, definitely. I predicted it last season. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to predict it again for this game coming up. The likes of Dendoncker. I don't rate him as a player, but he's that big lump that gets in the box. Yeah. And with our ability to, or lack of ability on set pieces, he's the type of player that pops up with his goal out of nothing, just a prod in from 3 yards because nobody's picked him up. And we suffer from that so often. We saw it twice against Chelsea. Bad goals to give away. We keep doing it. And Wolves have got the kind of quality and they have got the kind of determination and setup to hang on to a lead if we gift them one. They even capitalised on it last season. So there is danger there, but surely we've got to have ironed out some of these mistakes. There's more about the team now than there was last season. I think Richarlison's a great signing. He might not be the instant sort of, straight in the first team, he's going to displace the likes of Harry Kane or Sonny. That's not happening. But he will add to it. So we've got options. And we've seen that quite attacking the way we ended up against Chelsea at 4-2-4. I never thought we would have seen that.
No, absolutely. I mean,
more options than last season. That's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the thing for me with a game like tomorrow is I'd love to sit here and just go, we're going to batter them. But many times down the years, I've been that guy that said, I'm not worried about Saturday. And many times I've looked like a real idiot at the end of it. It's one of those, I think, get the first goal and we could get the second and third very quickly.
Yeah.
With the forwards we've got. I think, like you said, if we give them the first goal, which we have in our last 2 games to our opponents, right? Are they good enough to sit in? Is that their game? Is their game going to be more of a keep the ball rather than trying to sit in? I think it's all new because of their new formation.
Yeah, true. That's what I said. It's quite interesting because we don't know what we're going to get from them yet. They're still very much taking shape. I think one of the big bonuses for us is that unfortunate, really dangerous injury that happened on Jimenez because he has not been the same player since then.
No.
Before that injury, I think wouldn't have minded him at Spurs. All-round striker, great player, but he's obviously lost a bit of confidence aerial at least. So where are they likely to get goals from? And then it comes back to it is that set piece option that's or there's always of course the long range strike from the likes of Neves or something. He has got that in his locker.
I'm just going to look at Wolves' last game just to kind of. I know they've brought in Guedes and Nunes since then. I just want to kind of get a feel for what they've done in their last game. They had. Gibbs White played, and that's not going to happen this time, as he's just got a £44 million move. Yeah. £44 million for players that don't even play in the league. So you've got Neves and Dendoncker with Neto, Podence, and Gibbs White behind Hwang. Now, if you swap out Gibbs White maybe for, I don't know, is Guedes, I'm guessing, is going to be in the squad. He came on last week. They've got Traore. Other than that, I don't really see a lot of attack there. You know what I mean? There's not really a lot of gifted attackers.
Yeah, but they do have some quality in key positions. Mention one of them. Ruben Neves is an excellent player. He is capable of hitting a worldie from long range. Otherwise, they've got the capability of nicking a goal. And I think that's surely going to be their game plan. They're not going to be coming here thinking, we're going to smash Spurs 3 or 4-0. Yeah. They're going to look to nick a goal, defend it well, and just, if they get a chance to capitalise on it, they will do. like they did last season. Surely it's a similar kind of game plan for them. It's more about waiting for us to make the mistakes, give them a little sniff at goal, just take their chances. That's pretty much what it came down to last season. I mean, I'm pretty sure we still had about 15 to 20 shots on target last season, but we were just terrible at the finishing as well. Mm-hmm. That's a key point. You could argue Sonny and Kane, are they off form at the moment? Too early to tell, really, isn't it? But there's enough of a worry there, knowing some of the previous results against teams like Wolves when we're not firing properly. But, Kulusevski, Richarlison, Perisic to play at any point. There's enough quality there to break through their defence, surely. However, having said that, the likes of I really rate young Kilman as well.
He's decent.
A few of their others that don't get the as much recognition as I think. Well, the Podence, I think, is a really good player. Is he going to score 20 goals a season for them? I doubt it. Yeah, but he is capable of coming up with something. So that there is danger if we just don't respect them enough. We could come unstuck. However, you don't want to respect them too much either. I mean, we're the home team. We're supposed to be looking for things.
So let me ask you then. I'm going to ask you to flip this back on Spurs. If you were Bruno Lage, what are you telling your team? What's the plan? How do you get at Tottenham? Clearly, it's not going to be, they're not going to score loads and loads and loads of goals. It's not what Wolves do. So what are you telling them? Are you telling them, look, Romero's out. They're not good in the air. Get it. What are you telling them?
I'd be saying to the front players and the wing backs, get at them, run at them, try and draw some fouls in and around the area. Weak at set pieces, win some corners, get some slinging free kicks from just outside the area, put us under pressure. That's an obvious route for them, I think. Plus, of course, if we win those free kicks centrally, Neves on the ball could bang one in. So I think they're just going to play it patiently, but just have that little bit of daring just to force us into errors, because we will have a back three that's, if it's Sanchez, Dyer and Davis, for me, that's got mistakes written all over it, despite what people say about Dyer and Davis from last season. They improved last season. Doesn't mean they're good.
Yeah, I think people really misinterpret a lot of things, don't they? And we're going to come on to it in a bit, and I will put the stream in for people to chat. Sorry, I can just hear my French bulldog in the background. Such a silly little sod. He's sitting right where the sun's coming in and panting like mad, rather than sitting down this end where the cool is. What an idiot. So one thing I want to talk about is I put a little video out about it earlier. It was about the definition of squad depth versus squad depth quality. So I want to go on to that in a minute. But I mean, when you're looking at that back three, if you're Wolves, you're obviously happy Romero is out. But I want to ask about the midfield area for you. So let's assume it's going to be a Dendoncker and a Ruben Neves 2. I don't like pivot. It's going to be a 2. Two centre mids used to play before everyone talked about pivots. Is that a battle that you can see? I don't know who's going to start tomorrow. Højbjerg and Bentancur have started every game so far. Let's say those two start. Is that a midfield battle we should be winning? Or is that really underestimating Ruben Neves?
I think they're good. Ruben Neves is a fine player. I mean, we were regularly linked with him. So were most top clubs, but priced out of the market in most cases. So you can definitely underrate him for sure. But I think we should have enough now. We've got enough options there. I mean, I'm not a Højbjerg fan, but he can certainly hold his own and do the physical side of the game. Okay. Bentancur on form is dictating the tempo of the game, raining out the passes. Very much the kind of role that Ruben Neves does for them. So if you have
not as good in my opinion, Coover, if I'm honest.
Not yet, maybe.
I think Neves is that next level up from a Bentancur.
Bentancur could turn into that player though.
Sure. He's only young. Sure.
He's certainly one of the best we got for it at the moment. So without doubt, well, it's the only one really doing that role. After that, Basuma, you got to have Basuma in there for me. I think for me, is the starting two for us would be Bentancur and Basuma. I think Basuma's got that combative player side to him. He's a kind of like a Conte light, and that's quite a compliment to him, I think, because he does get all over the pitch. He does shut the opposition down, and he can pick a pass. Very underrated his passing, I think.
I tell you what, Cougar. I want to quickly divert away from something, and I don't know if this is a metaphor, but it's not that type of show, party after party. Too early for puppies. I think what you want to do is head over to Bob's Spurs show on a Saturday night where you get the pussies. So let's bring in. I just want to quickly bring in Nico from Norway. How you doing, my man? Let's bring in. I just want to quickly bring in Nico from Norway. How you doing, my man? Nico, you've got to turn me down.
Hey, do you hear me?
Yeah, big echo. Have you got the show on?
You've got me playing in the background.
Oh, sorry. 1 moment. Better.
There we go.
Better. How are you, Nico? You okay?
Yeah, I'm excellent. Looking forward to the game tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the game tomorrow?
I wanted to ask you guys. Yeah, I just want to ask you, what do you think about Conte not being there? What kind of effect will that event maybe have on the match? The influence part.
Ooh, I think there's enough madness in his entourage to keep it going. I think we'll see enough craziness from his closest assistants to keep that kind of spirit going, because they know what Conte's all about. I think it'll be fine from that point of view. It's just a shame for the fans, because we love to interact with Conte when he's jumping up and down on the pitch. It's brilliant. It's like having a separate little celebration with the manager, isn't it? So that's a shame in that respect. But I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I feel like if we play and train all week and we know Conte's tactics, him not being there, for me, these guys are pros, right? Him not being there shouldn't distract from beating Wolves. I can understand if it was a City or a Chelsea or a Liverpool, but no disrespect to Wolves, I feel like the game plan would have been sorted out on the training pitch this week. Soren, any different views to that, and welcome.
Soren?
No, same. Kuva, no, I think it's the perfect game to maybe not have him on the sideline, innit? If you were going to pick any, you wouldn't want it to be one of the top tier games.
Yeah.
But like you say, no disrespect to Wolves, but yeah, I'd rather him be missing this week than say last week or against City, Liverpool, Man U, any of those games.
Yeah, what a potent weapon it's turning out to be. Conte upsetting the opposition's bench. It really seemed to work against Chelsea. So,
well, this is what we were saying last week, the other day, Kuva, with Savva as well. There's a bit more bite in the team now, and it's coming from the manager all the way down. Whereas, under Poch or Nuno, you would never have seen any of this sort of fighting for the team. The passion was there maybe with Poch, but there was no real oomph to him. And that's what I like about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Nico, what do you think? Do you think it's going to make a difference, him not being there, or are you comfortable?
I'm never comfortable when it comes to Spurs, but I would say all those clowns at the back, maybe they need some guidance, because they never really impressed me. So, but I have thought a bit about Hugo Lloris. I watched especially the last goal from Chelsea. He went down way too fast. He has to be braver, I think. He worries me a bit, or not worried, but I'm a bit under the radar, maybe. Like, we criticize other players and we just take him for granted. He's been very loyal and everything, but is he on his way down, perhaps? Like, is he as good as we want him to be? Just a question.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's a good one. I mean, this is a player that I feel like throughout the last 2 years, there's been lots of ups and downs with Lloris. And just when, you start to see a few bad games and everyone thinks, oh, he's got to go, we've got to buy a new keeper. He then strings 5 or 6 games together where you go, oh my God, he's invaluable. And he's pulling off world-class saves. For me, I think Spurs do need a new keeper, but not now. I feel with the fact that we needed centre halves, right wing backs, left wing backs, forwards, attacking midfielders, I feel like they've kind of kicked the new keeper can down the road. And you can see that for the last few years, where I think it was Vorm, Galini, Hart, and now we've got Forster. What do you guys make of it? Is Lloris the player he was? Does he get a lot of unnecessary stick, or is there merit in some of the criticism? Kuva?
I think he's still a great shot stopper. I think he is starting to tail off from his peak, though. Has been for a couple of years, perhaps. I'm still not worried about him in that respect, but it's the long-standing argument that that some of us question with him. Is he really dominating the area? No. Is he really commanding it verbally? Wouldn't say so either. When we look at some of the goals that are down to lack of communication, he is at the back there amongst them, and he is our club captain. Should he be doing a bit better with it? Should he be barking orders at people constantly? I think he should. So is he possibly not what we at the peak we need anymore? As a shot stopper, well, I don't think we can really question him for a couple of bad games, considering all the times he does get us off the hook. But
is he dominant enough? Is it? I feel my one criticism always has been: is he a keeper that when the ball comes in the box and there's a big melee of players, does he come out and go, "Mine, everyone else get out of the way, I'm commanding this"?
Nah, of course not.
No,
I mean, for me, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I just no, because he doesn't have that presence. He doesn't have that really dominating, calm, composed presence. You see, he's a bit nervous. He doesn't punch that well, to be honest. It's a bit frantic, and I think he's good technically. I agree with Kuva that he's a very good shot stopper. Distribution, not great either. He's consistently good, but he isn't world class. I wouldn't say he's world class. That's just my opinion. So,
okay, Soren, let me bring you in here then. And got anyone who is waiting backstage, please just be patient with me. If you can't be patient, then if you want to come back in 10 minutes or whatever, but I just want to keep a flow at the moment. So I'm not ignoring you. Soren, what do we make of this comment? So Hugo is still class, the third best keeper in the Premiership after Alisson and Ederson. What do you think?
I mean, I look at the Tottenham team and I think there's two positions or two players that are the last ones we need to replace at the moment, right now, and that is Lloris and Kane, and probably three with Sonny as well. I think, yes, he does make mistakes. We know he does, but I don't think he makes a lot of mistakes all the time. You know, he's quite consistent most of the time. Unfortunately, it's one of those positions that when you do make a mistake, it generally ends in a goal. That's the downside to it. You know, any other position on the pitch can make mistakes every match, and it doesn't necessarily result in a goal. But I think for what he's done for us, for me, he's one of the first names on the team sheet, and he still should be. Now, like you just said, we do need to start looking for his replacement, though. I mean, I know we were linked to the lad at Leeds, for the future, which, I mean, when he played us last year, I think he was pretty damn good, wasn't he? So, I haven't seen a lot of him, but he does seem a decent keeper. But yeah, we need to be looking now, whether it's next season or the season after. But to me, he's still our number one, and he is good enough to be our number one.
Is the keeper that Ben Salah Youssef is talking about? I would have no grumbles at all if this was our next goalkeeper. I think this guy is one of the best keepers in the Premier League. I think because he doesn't play for one of the big four, I don't think he gets the credit. But Sarr, for me, is an unbelievable keeper. What do you guys make of him?
Yeah, could I just say something? I think if you don't have the ability, you need conviction. And that's what we lack, I think. Sessegnon, no conviction. Royal, same. Davis, Dyer. They don't have the personality. You can't compensate if you don't have the technical ability and it's not world class. But you need to have determination and conviction in your play. We don't have that in the defenders, or I would say midfielders as well.
I think sometimes though you've got to look at a goalkeeper and think if our defence isn't up to it just in front of him, it does make a goalie look slightly. I mean, look at Man U at the moment. You know what I mean? The goalie's looking shocking at the moment, but yet put him in a different team, he could be back to one of the best in the world again.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it does all have a knock-on effect.
Yeah.
You know, one player plays badly, the bloke next to him starts playing badly, the keeper loses confidence. And I think that's why you see players like Ederson with such confidence to try what they try in a game, because they trust the players around them, right? They trust it. Guys, I want to talk about something just before I bring the new guys in. I want to talk about something that I didn't plan to talk about today. I'm seeing lots of people in the chat are talking about Real Madrid possibly looking at Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg.
Oh.
Now, guys, I mean, I'm sort of tongue-tied with this because first and foremost, Real Madrid have got Cruz, Modric, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Valverde, Ceballos. I think I'm missing one as well. And Højbjerg's Højbjerg. Like, if somebody, here's my question, I'll get there. If Real Madrid came in and went 40 million, bish, bash, bosh, Højbjerg, are you letting him go so we can go and buy someone better? Right. Okay, Kuva, take it away. You're waving goodbye to the... You're going to upset Ellie. You know that, right? You're going to upset Ellie.
Well, I'm like you, Savva. I mean, when I look at a midfield two, I don't like this idea of pivot. Why does it have to be so restrictive of what a player is?
Yeah,
I think he should be looking at an all-round great midfielder. I mean, that's why I always admire the likes of Steven Gerrard, because he could do all of it.
Yeah.
Why don't we? When we're not looking at that kind of player, somebody that offers can do literally all of the roles required and can just work in great partnership with the man next to him. That's what all great midfields do. It's all about partnership. So I think Højbjerg for me is just too restrictive. He's very defensive minded. He does have a pass in him sometimes, but he does it inconsistently. He can be great one game with his passing range and absolutely awful the next. For me, though, his biggest drawback is he's so painfully slow, which means he's
it's
easy
like
to
he's
bypass.
running in treacle, isn't it? Most of the time, I feel like when a player, I feel for it. Look, he does a good job. That's what I'm going to say. He's a solid pro, and that's what I think. You need solid pros in the squad. I'm not saying, oh my God, sell him, but if a bid came in from Madrid for somewhere in the region of 40, 50 million, I'm now looking and going, that's a foreign player out, right? Nothing against foreign players, but to bring another foreign player in, you've got to get a foreign player out, 40, 50 million, chuck 15 million on that, you get yourself a Serge Milenkovic-Savic. Now, I know that's very football manager type stuff, but why not, right? Why not? I mean, Nico, what do you think, Nico? Højbjerg?
Yeah.
Is he sellable? Is that
you have to ask yourself the question, if they're interested in him, is it something we don't see? Like, that's the first thing you think, right? When such a good club is. And also, compared to Casemiro, is he the same type of player? In my mind, Casemiro is like streets ahead, but maybe it's leadership skills, or in a Real Madrid team, he's more like he plays in a much better team there, right? So he balances. It's all about the chemistry and stuff. We don't think that much about, like, the personalities. It's very important in squad. So yeah, absolutely. But I would say sell him. If up to me, sell the guy. It's too limited for me. So that's. I mean,
absolutely, Nico, spot on. I mean, Soren, let's be fair, if Højbjerg went to Real Madrid, he's not going there as a starter, is he? They've got Cruz and Modric, who Modric will be playing at about 56, I think. He's still that good. Cruz is brilliant. They've got two of the best young midfielders in Europe in Tchouaméni and Camavinga. Let's be fair, if they're buying Højbjerg, it's squad depth, right? 60 to 70 million, this guy reckons we want for Højbjerg. 60 to 70. The world's gone mad, isn't it?
I mean, people know what I think about Højbjerg. I think he is underrated in our team. I honestly do. I think too many people don't see the work he puts in. If he goes, I'll be sad. I will be sad if he goes. He's one of the. He is a manager's favourite. The managers love him. He's a workhorse. Look,
but doesn't this come back to? Yes, he's a 50-50. He's a fan favourite with 50%. Yes, he's a manager's favourite. But doesn't this come down to sentiment again? That if you can get X amount for a Højbjerg, you can bring in much better for 50, 60 million than Højbjerg, and therefore Spurs improve.
Yes, and I fully agree with you. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, just because this type of player, for me, it's like we had Scott Parker. I loved Scott Parker. He had like this aura. He was energetic. He was very tidy with his passing. I rate him much higher than Højbjerg. For me, he's too slow. He gets overrun all the time. He's too limited technically wise. For me, I care about the leadership skills, but it's not enough. For me, I know he does defensive work, but you also need to have the something like forward. He's too safe also for me.
Yeah, but I think what you're missing with him is it's not the fancy work that he does, it's the dirty work that he does. But look, if we're going to get a decent figure, a decent sum for him, and we do go out, this is the big if. We do go out and we upgrade on him, and we spend that money on a Milinkovic-Savic. Look, it's a no-brainer. But it's Tottenham we're talking about here. We will sell him for 40, 50 million, and we'll go to the first division and buy a young lad that's not ready to come in our team. This is the reality of Tottenham Hotspur.
Quickly, that Acne pundit, hello, welcome, mate. I feel like there might be something on in your room making a noise.
That's probably my computer. I've got quite an old computer. It's a fan. So if that's
just winding it up.
Have you got the old Amstrad out? Have you got the old?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that joke might be.
That's flown over the head. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Amstrad jokes. These two old boys in the chat, they'll get it.
That's an Alan Sugar joke.
I don't understand it neither. Then Savva.
Alan Michael Sugar Trading, right?
Yeah.
We all know what it stands for. That Agni Pundit, welcome to the show. What do you think, young man, about and take that in a nice way because I wish I was your age. What do you think? Højbjerg, is there enough there that if Madrid come in, we go, no, you can't take one of our squad players?
I think if we do a swap deal with one of their players. Perhaps Cruz, if we swap with Cruz, I know that's that's out of this world. That's never going to happen. But if that happened, I think I'd be happy with letting Højbjerg go. But just letting him go for 40 million and then buy Milinkovic-Savic, I don't really think that's what should happen. I think we should bring in a defender rather than another midfielder because I think we've got enough squad depth in our midfield now. We just need to sort out the back line and then we'll be sorted.
So let me ask you then on that. So listen, and my job here is just to pick apart people's questions. Please do not take it personally. All the people who know me know not to take it personally. I'm going to challenge your theory on squad depth in midfield. So Tottenham have, at the moment, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Skip, Basuma. They're trying to find Papa Sarr somewhere to go on loan. Lo Celso and Ndombele have gone on loan. And Harry Winks looks like I feel like he's soon going to be joining Dele Alli and Besiktas. Like he feels like he's completely in the wilderness. Is for a club that could have 55, 60 games, Champions League, FA Cup, World Cup in the middle, League Cup and the League, 4 central midfielders, you lose one of them. Yeah. You now got 3 players that have to play 60 games. Yeah.
When you put it like that, yeah. We need 2 more midfielders. But, I think Conte will bin the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup in the 4th round. Or as soon as we're in there, just lose to the team and then we can concentrate on the big ones. So if that's the way he's going about it, why would we need to spend 50, 60 million on 2 midfielders when we can get 50, 60 million on a back line where we'd arguably be better?
Yep.
So...
No, I completely agree. And I mean, let me bring Kuva, I'll bring you in here, mate. My argument with all of this, like when people say, and I've seen it over all the shows I've been watching lately, if I had to pick one, this is what I'd buy. I don't ever subscribe to that. For me, I'm like, well, hang on, if you need a centre-back and you need a centre-mid, get your money out, Daniel, and do it, right? We're not poor. We're not these poor we're not Millwall. Sorry if anyone's a Millwall fan. We're not. I'm trying to think of anyone who's not got rich owners. I was about to say Villa and Newcastle, and everyone's got rich owners. But look, we're not a Norwich, right? If you want to go and get two players, surely there's 100 million there to go, right, we want a 50 million pound centre back, 50 million pound midfielder. Is that not the case, or am I being naive?
No, I'm with you all the way on that. What was the point in this 150 million for increased financial flexibility? We've got the wrong end of the stick. Perhaps a lot of fans saying, "Oh, that's all for transfers," which clearly it isn't. But surely, with the club our size and the amount of revenue we're generating naturally for a summer transfer window, we should be able to just go out and buy almost whoever we bloody well want. The idea on this financial flexibility is you can buy them in early and then you spend the rest of the window just selling off the junk. Now, if that's what we're doing, we've had an underwhelming window. I'm with you when we say, why not?
You're right.
Why not look at selling Højbjerg? Why not just go out and get Milinkovic-Savic? Why not get another one as well? Why not get a James Maddison as well? Really push the boat out. You don't not necessarily those two, but something along those lines. Getting the areas that need strengthening: the centre back, the right wing back, the attacking midfielder, somebody with extra goals in the team. Just get that balance and fill it with quality in those positions. There's no reason we can't have done that. It's just instead, there's how much we spent on 40 million on youngsters for the future, and then we didn't even draw out the 50 million that's still sat in the bank there. What could be done with that instead? That's 90 million just in those two factors.
The thing is,
and then we could be looking at, come halfway through the season where we start falling short or get an injury here or there. We're just saying, well, we could have done better, couldn't we? And we just did.
Yeah. But Kuva, we're already talking. We need to sell before we buy now. There is money, but there isn't any more money. That's
it's not the money. I don't think that's the problem. I think we literally can't register anyone because of the amount of players we brought in.
But then don't register the players you're not going to play.
Well,
I think just quickly.
Be like,
hang on.
Sorry,
just quickly Just quickly, mate. Listen, there's 134 of you in the chat and only 36 likes. Come on, get those likes up, people. Guys, look, let's talk about that then. I saw the report the other day. But by the way, I've seen so many reports this summer. If I've believed every report I've seen and every tier one reporter, then Spurs are about to buy their 450th player of the window. But he's a tier one source, Savva. He's tier one. He knows what's going on. Yeah. I've got this question for you, right? I saw an interesting post from Lee Gunner today. Now, forget whether you like Lee Gunner or not. I'm sure we've all seen his name about. Lee Gunner turned around and said this. He said, Nottingham Forest have spent close to 164 million, I believe, this window and signed 16 players. Now, whilst I'm not saying that Spurs need to do that, how are Nottingham bloody Forest, who have just got promoted, able to go and slap down 164 million on players, and Spurs can't? We've got rid of about 9 players, about 7 or 8 players, sorry, and we still need to get rid of some to bring some in. Can somebody, better than me, probably all of you, explain what's that all about?
Yeah, logically, you've got to look at it. Forest are coming from relatively low wages being paid out in the Championship, and they're getting this colossal TV windfall coming into the Premiership. And they can literally go out and blow a lot of that money because it's free money for them. There's no attachments to that. It's just, well, hey, go get in there. That is the big prize of getting into the Premiership in the first place.
But also they have a rich owner like the Olympiacos owner is also the owner of Forest now. He's Greek, but he's now putting all his money into Forest, like actually spending money.
Did you just have to get in there that he was Greek? Is that what you had to do? You had to,
Sorry, I was talking about this last night with someone else. So.
He's one of us. He's Greek.
Yeah, he's one of us. Yeah, but as in like he was more invested in Olympiacos, but now he's more invested in Forest because there's a Premier League club. So that's why I think they're spending as well. Because I think they spent 42 million on Morgan Gibbs-White. Is that his name? Morgan Gibbs-White? I think, yeah. Like they're spending big because the owner wants to spend big.
But they certainly wouldn't have done it if they stayed in the Championship, though, would they?
No, probably not. But at the same
surely
time,
you've got to give him some credit, though. Like, I mean, to get 16 players in a window. Now, look, we can say it's dangerous, right? But let's be fair. The team they come up with was never, ever going to stay up. Some of the players he's bought look really good. When you look at the likes of Lingard, Freuler from Atalanta, yeah, these are, the right back from Nico Williams. They've made some good signings. And I just fail to believe, even if they've just come up, guys, and Soren, let me bring you in here. Surely we can match 150 million without needing bloody Premier League money for getting promoted. Surely. Can't we?
Yeah, we can, but it's just Levy, isn't it? Like, he said that he's going to, once he built the stadium, he was going to invest. And I think he wants proof before he spends any more money. I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but I'm saying that he's being careful with his money. And if you want another Ndombele to happen, which might happen in the near future, if you force Levy to spend money, then we're not going to get the most trophies. So you've got to spend your money wisely. You can't just splash it.
Can I ask you this, though? This is what I don't get. First and foremost, party after party, please never, ever, 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 ever talk to me about financial fair play. Apparently, Spurs need to spend something like 400 million before we even touch financial fair play. So I don't want to hear this. That Acne pundit. Sorry, what's your name? I can't call you that. I can't. What's your name?
AJ. Just call me AJ.
Perfect. All right. That's apt for this weekend. AJ. I get it, but something like we were talking about last week. Every time a Spurs fan suggests spending a sizable fee on a player, the first thing that fans say is, "Oh, well, we don't want to do an Ndombele." Now, the big clubs, you can go loads to how many duds: City, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool. They keep buying duds over the years, and then they keep going. Spurs, we can't, surely. I mean, everyone jump in here. Surely we can't just say, "Oh, well, it didn't work with Ndombele once, so we never spend big on a player again." Surely we can't, can we?
We can't do that. But I think what everybody seems to be forgetting is we've just come out of COVID and 2 years virtually with no fans in the stadium. We've just had a massive bill for a new stadium. No excuses, I know, because we haven't spent when we should have done. But I just don't see us. I mean, when everybody got excited and started wetting themselves because there was 150 million pound coming into it was never happening. Open your eyes and have a look. It was never happening. That money was going elsewhere, whether it's on wages, whether it's on paying for players that we've already bought in on loan with an obligation. All that money was never going in. And you can see the signs now when Conte is coming out and saying, yeah, we need to move players on to get more players in. This is almost where we're going to be. Everybody going on about Milinkovic-Savic. We all want him. He's not going to come, unless there's a bloody miracle. We're all talking about Milinkovic-Savic, and all of a sudden now we're looking at Ruslan for 20 million.
Mm. Well, what I don't get, Soren, is when other clubs do spend, when other clubs do try and be ambitious, we get fans like this that, they'll be gone in a few years. I mean, their owners are rich. They're going to be absolutely fine, right? It feels like Spurs fans have almost been, I'm going to say it, sorry, some of you are going to hate me for this. It's almost like some Spurs fans have been brainwashed by Daniel Levy into thinking, oh my God, if you spend money in football, you go into administration. Mm. Who's gone into administration in football in the last 20 years?
No, I agree with you on that one, but then you can also look at Everton. They spent big over the last year or two, and they're struggling a little bit now, or a lot of bit now. But I think you can look at it. You don't necessarily have to be a Levy in to believe that we can't spend money and we can't do a Leeds or an Everton or whatever you want to call it, and we can't buy any more players because of what's happened with Ndombele and Lo Celso. But I do think you can look at it in a slightly different way and understand the fact that Tottenham is run as a business and not a plaything. That's the two different things. When you look at Chelsea, you look at City, they're playthings for these people. It's not a business. They don't care if they lose money. Whereas with us, it's a business. And you always got to accept it. Now, as a fan, I'm the same as everybody else. You know, it kills me to think we're not spending like these bigger teams are. But then you look at it and you try and take it with a little bit of perspective and think, unfortunately, it's run as a business. It's not run as a team. We are not set up as a club that want to win loads of trophies. We want to finish top 4. Now, we're not satisfied with, we are at the moment with coming top 4, but we don't want to just come top 4. We all want trophies. Unfortunately, Levy and Enoch don't. They're not bothered about that. They look at the money that's going to come in at the end of the season, and that's the most important thing to them. And as long as we're successful in that way, that's where we'll run. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that every fan, because every fan has to have their own opinion. And if we all felt the same way, what a boring show this would be.
No, absolutely. Listen, absolutely. Just quickly, Haz, I'm coming to you in a second, and then I'm going to go to Nico. Clubs that have gone into administration, I've seen Derby County. Again, I'm not talking at our level. Leeds, okay. Pompey, but none of the big boys, none of Spurs are never going to go into administration. We are owned by billionaires. It's never, ever going to happen. We are 400 million away from even being in trouble with FFP. I don't think I'm asking for the world when I say just 1 or 2 big signings to go in there to complement all of these youthful players that we're buying. If you look at it like Perisic on a free, okay, that's great, but it's not ambitious. Forster on a free, again, good, no ambition. The Doji, that's not ambition. Spence isn't. Longdown alone isn't. Basuma's arguably the only one that's ambitious. And this is what I don't get why Spurs fans are so hung up on the financial side of it.
Yeah.
Like it's our own money. We pay.
Going through that list though.
Sorry, I can't.
Perisic is 2 or 3 years too late.
Agreed.
If we'd have bought him 3 years ago, that would have been aggressive for us. If Basuma, like you had this on the other day. If he'd have been 40 million, we wouldn't have bought him. It's only because he was a bargain we bought him.
Agreed.
The young lads is our typical way we run our club. We buy the young and hope we can sell them on for a profit later on down the line. That's what Udogie is. That's what Jed Spence is. These are the players that we're getting in that hopefully over the next 2 or 3 years will suddenly start to perform. It's like Dele Alli. We bought him in and we should have sold him 3 or 4 years ago when he was at his peak and we were looking at 120 million. We didn't. We kept him and he went so downhill. But that's the type of club we are. We are not the way we're run at the moment. It may change, but the way we're run at the moment is we are buying for the future. And we've tried to buy a couple of players for now.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go on, Nico. Go on.
If you're a prime top player looking from the outside, why would you want to join Spurs? Like, it starts from the top, right? It's about Levy. Again, the word conviction, right? Why would you want to play with Dyer, Sanchez, Sessegnon? That says a lot, doesn't it, about the ambition level? What
why would Casemiro want to play for United? Why is he going there? That's
money. It's money, right? He gets great salary. So
if we look at the menu, if you look, I'm going to I'm coming to you right after this.
I'm just wait. It's fine.
Don't worry. Look, AJ, the thing is as well. Look, I agree. Look, Man United are a mess. Unfortunately, Man United will always be a pull because of the name Man United. Whether we like it or not, Casemiro will look at that and go, "Well, hang on. David De Gea is there. Varane is there. Ronaldo's there. Bruno Fat. All of these serial winners are at Man United, whether they're performing at the moment, whether the rest of the team is good, they do have Christian Eriksen. They've got serial winners throughout their team. Whereas when you look at Spurs, if I was a top player, and Spurs approach me, one of the things I'd be saying is, where else are you strengthening? Who else are you bringing in? Because at the moment, listen, I'm not knocking a Doji. He looks really good. Spence, we don't know. But again, this lad from Blackburn Rovers that we're meant to be looking at, this is all meant to be in a window where I was told there were no excuses now. And sorry, Cove, you've heard me say this a million times, but there were no excuses. It was the Champions League, the manager, the director of football they wanted. The stadium's done, the training. There's no excuses. I can't understand how we get halfway through the window and it looks positive. And then as Coover, I think I heard you say yesterday, we got to there and then it started going, oh, let's go young again. Let's buy young again. And it's just all of the excitement for me just dropped off. Haz, I'll bring you in on that. Yeah. When I see comments, Haz, like this, like shrewd, smart business versus chucking money unwisely. My question to you, Haz, is this. Why is it that when you ask for players to be signed, why is it that everyone assumes it always has to be chucking money unwisely? Isn't that what Paratici is there for, that it's not chucking unwisely and that he goes and scouts top players that are wise?
Well, that's his job. He's meant to scout these players, so then he gets the players that Conte wants, right? So at the same time, just going on what you said before, when you were saying that just because we spent on someone like Ndombele or Lo Celso or whatever and it didn't work out, it doesn't mean the next player we buy for that money is going to be as shit, right? It could easily be like the signing we need to like complete the team, right?
Right.
So it's a psychological thing. As for the brainwashing, I just want to carry on what you're saying,
Go for it.
I was someone who was leaving in for 10 years, I guess. I was quite young, right? Until 2012, and that was the last straw for me. So I can kind of see it from two standpoints, So when I first started supporting Tottenham properly, say back in the late 90s it was basically Levy's tenure, right, from whenever it started, properly. We were sold a thing whereby we were buying for the future, Every window is buying for the future, and you could buy it for 2 or 3 years because there's a new ownership, right? And they're trying to build something. Let's say we're buying this for 2 or 3 years, their ideas, but we're in year 20 now or 2022, right? You can't keep spilling the same crap every bloody year and say, oh, we're buying for the future. If the future, as someone on Twitter always says to me, the future never comes because these players get sold anyway. And by the time we built that team, a couple of those players are gone, right?
Yeah.
So, and we've got a manager like Conte now, who apparently only deals with the present, but we're still buying players for the future. So it's
doesn't that show that Conte is going to leave at the end of the season? Though?
Yeah.
Because if Levy's been told maybe by Conte saying, "Oh yeah, I'm off at the end of the next season," then he's going to be like, "Right, so why should I buy players for you then? I've already bought these two. I'm going to buy for me now." And he's just already lining up his next manager. Maybe he's been told something that we haven't yet.
The philosophy of the club hasn't changed since Conte's come, really, if you think about it, in terms of transfers, because we're still signing youngsters like this. Even Jed Spence was a big red flag for me, in this window, because I was like, this is not a Conte sign-in. I have said this before in the show, actually. It's and now we've got Udogie as another one.
But you two have just said.
So it's where are we going to do it?
Yeah, but Haz, you two have just said the absolute typical thing that everybody's been spouting on about that. I mean, I've said it as, don't get me wrong, that, Conte is only here for one season. Everything he's talking about, if you listen to the man, he's here for a little bit longer. Now, he's asked for Udogie. He's asked for the younger players. He's the one who's said, look, get this in because it's for the future. He's now talking about the future, not about now anymore.
How do you know that?
Well, if you listen to him.
I've listened to him.
Has he said that explicitly, though? Has he explicitly said, oh, yeah, I want to do Udogie? Has he explicitly said, oh, yeah, I want Spence?
He talks in
I never said Spence, but Spence is not one that he picked, and I get that. I agree with you there. But, he's sitting there, and it's been in his press conferences and things like that he's not just talking about this season anymore. He is talking about slightly long. Now, we all sat here, and I sat here a few weeks ago when he came and said, he's going to go at the end of the season. And then he's coming out and saying, as long as I'm not lied to, then I'm prepared to stay. As long as I'm happy, I'm prepared to stay. Now, if you look at what's happening, as long as he's happy, he could be here for another season. And the way it looks, from my perspective, so it's only my opinion, that he's now looking at not necessarily winning anything this season. I think he's looking at next season and the season after possibly. And that's why we've got to kind of calm down with, we've got to get all these world-class players in and things like that. And I know it's another one of those that everybody hates and saying we're building for tomorrow. And that's like what Haz has just said. That's what we've been saying for 20 years. Yeah. And I get that. But everything, if you look at things now, it's kind of falling into place.
Is it? I don't see what it is. I don't. No. Sorry, Nico, go on.
Yeah, it's exactly the same as Pochettino. He's screwing him over big time.
You tell me, under any other manager, when have we spent 60 million for a player to sit on the bench?
Yeah, but that's because we're stupid. So you're telling me?
No, for the last.
Hang on. So things have changed because we're buying £60 million sub strikers rather than buying centre backs we need, midfielders we need, and right wing backs we need now for the first 11.
For the last 5 years, we've been screaming out for a striker, and every season we've been saying we're all been sitting here and on Twitter and on social media saying, why aren't we buying a striker? Why aren't we buying a striker? Well, we've suddenly bought a striker for 60 million, and now everyone's saying, why have we bought a striker and not a centre back?
It's a given.
Why don't we sign both?
I'm not buying that, Florin.
No, you look back. I mean, I want a centre back, and I mean, Savva knows I've been saying that's the one place we should be strengthening before. Centre back and right wing back. They were the places we should have been strengthening. Not necessarily midfield, because at the moment, I think with the 4 midfielders we've got, we still need another one probably, but we're pretty solid in there. But to the players we're buying, now there might not be the world-class players and sorting into the first team, and I get that's where we all want to see the players coming in, but it's the first window where we've actually kind of bought some type of quality to sit on the bench rather than just having.
I'm sorry.
Do you want him to start instead of Harry Kane? Do you want Richarlison to start instead of Harry Kane?
Say that again.
Do you want Harry Kane to sit on the bench then? Because you spent 60 million on Richarlison.
When did I say that?
No.
I said we've spent 60 million on a player to sit on the bench. That's the first time we've ever spent money for a player to come in as a backup.
True, but at the detriment of the 11. This is the thing. It's always like, I can't believe, like, I'll be honest, I watched Kuva on a show last night and I was in the chat and the number of people saying, look, we've just signed to strengthen the bench. What other top club signed?
Name me a striker that's come in instead of Kane then.
Hang on, hear me out. What other club, when they're going through their project, so bored of projects, the 20-year project, starts with bench players?
No,
Man City didn't. Liverpool didn't. Chelsea didn't. They went first team, bang, bang. We're buying £60 million backup strikers when we've got players like Sessegnon and Royal as our wing backs and Dyer and Davis as our centre backs. If that is what you say is falling into place.
No, that's not what I said, actually. I fully agree with what you've just said. I don't understand why we've bought a striker instead of the positions we need to strengthen. But what I said was, it's the first time we've started spending 60 million on a player to sit on the bench as a backup to a position that we don't necessarily need in that thing.
But look at what's happened. Spurs spent 60 million on Richarlison and everything else has been cheap and cheerful. Everything.
I don't disagree, but
but what I want to know is
Bissouma's not a cheap and cheerful player, though, is he?
Cheap. We got Bissouma because he's cheap.
Yeah.
We spent 12.5 million on a right wing back from the Championship. We've got a defender on loan from Barcelona, a free goalkeeper, a free left winger, and people are telling me this is ambitious and this is what Conte wants. When has Conte ever gone and done this in any club he's been at?
But we could also argue that if he didn't want it, he would have probably walked.
But I keep hearing this.
I'm not saying he wants them players. What I'm saying is if he's not in some way happy with what's going on, he's the type of person that would just walk out. And we know that. So there must be something in there that he's quite happy with. Now,
I can think of 14 million reasons a year that keeps him happy.
well, yeah, but are you telling me? But he could have gone to Man U and got a lot more than 14 million reasons to stay.
But I think too many Spurs fans. I'm going to bring you in here, Kuva. Too many Spurs fans seem to be running away with this strap line of if he wasn't happy, he'd walk. Right now, yes, but not right now. He's not going to walk before the transfer window shut. I'm not suggesting he'd even walk at the beginning. What Conte will do is when things start going bad, if they do, I'm not saying they definitely will. If things start going bad, that is when we will see Conte start using the window as an excuse. That, for me personally, I don't think there's any reason for him to walk at the moment. But this whole he'd walk by now if he wasn't happy. Who walks away from £14 million a year when they've got less than a year left on their contract? Never, ever, ever happening.
For me, Soren and I were talking about this the other day, weren't we, mate? We thought that if Conte's going to go, it's likely to be after the window, because he would have been let down on this window, then been expecting something to be rectified in January. If it isn't, he'll just made up his mind then. I'm just going to run my contract out and I'm off. Easy.
The one thing you've got to look at, which I think kind of sums it up, is you look at his comments after January, and it was, well, we've got rid of 4 players and we've got 2 in. It's not good enough, That 2 quality players we got in, but 2 out, 2 in, 4 out. This time we've kind of got 6 or 7 in, and I know they're all not first team starters before you tell me that, but we've kind of flipped it a little bit. And then we're trying to get the others out now. And once the others have gone, I honestly think nobody expected us to be letting Lo Celso go and Ndombele and getting fuck all back in. That's the biggest problem that we've done. Now, good we've got them out, but I think that's where the banking was. That's where we would have seen the money getting spent. And that's the problem. Now, we look at the players that we've been linked to properly. Zaniolo. From all accounts, and I don't know whether it's right or wrong, we have tried to get him. We've put a couple of typical low ball.
That's not trying. Sorry.
No, I know it's not. But
that is the same thing. And you know, Soren, and I know in this next 2 weeks, a big name will come out that Spurs are trying to get. We won't get him. And then it will be...
Shall I tell you who that's going to be?
There just wasn't enough time to get it over
We know who that's going to be, don't we? Milinkovic-Savic.
Right.
He's going to be the one where we've really gone for him, and unfortunately we couldn't get him in. So yeah, we've got Joe Bloggs from Cambridge Town instead. That's what's going to happen.
It all ties in with what is really Levy's biggest success at this club. He's been astonishingly successful at one thing, and that's generating a PR machine to cover the fact he's laundering money from us. We're not laundering, that's a bad word to use, but
I know what you mean.
But, I know what you mean. Exploiting the club for his own personal gains. But the thing is, with this PR machine, you look back far enough, you could see it happening, but a lot of us didn't really cotton onto it at the time. If little things slipping into the press releases, it will be something like we get a really disappointing 0-0 draw, and then suddenly it's a big poster of Hugo Lloris and 3 cheers for Hugo when he gets a clean sheet. And I'm thinking, we're cheering clean sheets now, are we?
Yeah,
and then it's like, our net spend is so much less than all the other clubs. Hooray!
Over at our age, it's great to wake up with a clean sheet.
Just quickly,
mate.
Just quickly, I want to see, first of all, I'm seeing some people in the chat saying pessimist FC. At the end of the day, you've got to remember, some of us have supported this club for 14 years, right? And the things I'm being told by people now is no different to the conversations I've been having for the last 20 windows. So forgive me if I'm not buying into it this time again, because I don't see any different. I was told this when Jose had that window. And I remember so clearly saying, everyone going, Jose wanted these players. And I said, what, you think Jose Mourinho, serial winning manager, wanted Doherty, Gedson, Bergwijn, Roden, Hart, and Vinicius. You truly believe, and I'm not saying this window's the same as that, but I'm still looking at these players this window and going, yeah, as if these were at the top of Conte's wish. I'm sorry. Just quickly, I've got a starred question I want to ask you guys about.
Oh, sorry. So really quickly on this one though, about the Daniel Levy spending bit. Why are we in the state where we have to fix so much in one transfer window? That is down to Daniel Levy.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say is I'm not going to blame Paratici that he can't blame him, that he can't fix it in one window, because that is asking a lot on one man. He didn't get us into this state.
It's not his fault,
Yeah,
really.
absolutely. I mean, what I would like to say to the people in the thing saying, "Oh, I keep seeing this in loads of talks. Oh, give him time. It can't be done in one window." I heard that last summer, the summer before that. It's always, oh, it can't. Next summer, I guarantee, if we show a clip of this show next summer at this time, we will be having the same conversation and the same excuses in the chat will be saying, well, he's only had a year and a half. This year, right?
Give him another 2 years.
Yeah, but for some of us, we've got to keep saying it because we can't remember saying it last year.
I mean, let's talk about this, guys. This is to all of you. Dunkel's talk has said, "What are you talking about?" I'm guessing that's to me. Tottenham never buy in the start of the window. Of course, something has changed. Now, I'm going to start with you, Nico, on this. Now, again, another thing that I keep hearing, right? First and foremost, buying at the beginning of the window has done us absolutely no good because none of the new starters have started, right? Hardly any of them played in pre-season. And again, if we're buying players at the beginning of the window that don't walk into our 11, I don't care if you're buying them the last day or the first day. If they are not improving the 11, what does this matter, Nico, that it was done? All we've done is reverse the way we normally do it.
Yeah, he's such a master manipulator because we're so starved as a fan base. So he gives us this tiny bit of this drip, and that's like we get in players early, and amazing. And we praise the guy because we're so starved. And then it doesn't do anything. But then again, you think, oh, it's better than before. But it's just more of the same. If you see the big pattern, it's exactly the same. If you take a closer look at everything. We sold Bale. We bought 7 players. And it's quantity over quality, right? It's exactly the same now. Nothing has changed, I think. It's the same. I don't see any major structural differences. Like they're buying a really quality player, like we need some statement signing, a huge name that would maybe go to Chelsea or another club. Like, again, the conviction. Where's Levy trying to sell into big players like come to Tottenham, like a project, something really ambitious? We're not seeing it, are we? We're not seeing it.
We're not. And I'm going to come to you just quickly. I've got a super chat. And guys, the likes are very stingy today. There's 185 of you in the chat and only about 55 likes. Hit that button. Everyone's taking time out of their sunny Friday afternoon to keep you entertained. You can press a button. Kafkov Gaming, thank you, has said a complete joke club, to be honest. Same old BS. I'm sick of it. I mean, thank you, Kafkov Gaming, for that. I mean, moving on from that then, let's assume we'd had this window we've had, right? But Spence, Adoji, Forster, and Longley were all bought in now, like in these last 2-3 weeks. Would we still have all fans going, oh my God, what a window. It's been brilliant. We've acted early. Or would we be going, this is really underwhelming. We've just bought in a lot of panic buys.
Yeah. Oh, so if we signed these players in the last 2-3 weeks instead of now, basically, right?
If we signed them right in the last 4 weeks at the end of the window, as opposed to at the beginning.
Oh, at the beginning. Well, I think some people might say it's panic buyers, but at the same time, the quality ain't that much different, so it's the same. So I don't know if you really think about it, like Nico was saying, like a bigger picture. is not that much different. The only thing I can say with the whole signing early thing is that we signed Ndombele early. We've also signed players like Pochettino, I think, got Alderweireld early. It doesn't necessarily mean they're good or bad. It's just the way it fell, right? And I think I'm mentioning that Ndombele, Lo Celso, Sessegnon window, even though people might think it's not relevant. But I think because we signed someone like Ndombele early, people getting excited, saying, "Oh, things have changed again," blah blah blah. And we've done a similar sort of thing now. Where we've got Perisic, Richarlison, and a couple others early, and we were like getting all hopeful. Oh, things are going to change. And then we ended the window signing like Udogie and Spence and people like that. Like the mirror of that is the fact we signed someone like Sessegnon quite late in the window. I don't know if you remember. I think it was deadline day went to or something like that. That window is the window structure is basically the same. Again, that's how I see it really. Because for me, if we want to be like a top club, and you talk about this all the time. If you look at what Liverpool did when they signed Alisson and Van Dijk, we need two signings like that in a centre half, a right wing back, or a centre half and a cam, or even all three really, like two or three really big signings to make a real big difference for me.
Okay, so Soren, let me bring you in here just quickly, just before I ask you a question. But Dunkelsdorp, you're negating your own point. You've told me that it's good. We changed our ways with players in early, but what difference has it made? Because he hasn't started any of them, and hardly any of them actually went on pre-season. So what difference did it make when we signed them? Soren, my question to you is: I know you're probably a bit more this side. I don't mean this side, but I mean you're a bit more positive than I am, I suppose. If you look tomorrow, for all of this good work that fans think we've done in the window, and it's been an 8 out of 10 window, and all this kind of nonsense. Spurs could still line up tomorrow with a back five of Royal, Sanchez, Dyer, Davis, Sessegnon.
Yep.
Now, from all of this amazing window we're meant to have, how has that ever been allowed to happen?
I can't answer that. I have absolutely no... Look, I've said from the beginning we needed a new centre-back and a new right wing-back. How we haven't got them other than Longley, which, let's be honest, we still don't know how good a player he could be if he's ever fit again for us. I mean, earlier, a couple of years ago, he was looking a pretty decent player. So, let's... The problem is, we've got to say is, until these players that we've bought actually start playing for us, we don't know how good a window it might have been. Now, I was one of the ones saying, after the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, it was an 8 out of 10. And every week that goes by, that's dropping and dropping and dropping.
Right, yeah.
Because, I am a pretty positive person in the sense of it. I do try to look at what
Is this the reverse of a night out? When a girl starts and she looks all forward, and the more beers you have, is it the reverse of that for Tottenham's window?
Yeah, I think it is. It's one of those. The morning after, you think, "Shit, what have we done?" But look, the thing is,
surely, I know what you're saying, right? I know what we're saying. Okay, we need to see the new players, see how good they are. But my point is, our 11 wasn't that great to begin with. No. So if we had this amazing window that people are saying we've had, I'm not saying you, people have had. Surely, game one there would have been 2 or 3 brand new players in that first 11 showing we mean business. Look who we've bought. Bang.
Yeah,
but it's not.
I think there should have been. But let's slightly flip it. Say tomorrow or tonight, Milinkovic-Savic was announced. And it was, here we go. Yep. How many of us would now be sat here saying what a great window it is?
It would be a much better window for sure.
Yeah, we'd be far more positive. Now, flip that again and say, right, we've bought in Milinkovic-Savic. We've upgraded Højbjerg because he's now gone to Madrid. But going back to the conversation we had a week or two ago, we've not actually got any more players in because we've swapped 1 for 1. But we'd all be sitting here saying it's a far better window, but we're no stronger in depth or anything. But we still haven't strengthened our centre-back or our right wing-back, but we've got a world-class midfielder in, but we'd all be happy. That's the problem with it all.
No. See, we would... Listen, this is the thing for me. Look, Kuva, let me bring you in here, brother. Would we be... Don't get me wrong. If Spurs sign Milinkovic-Savic tomorrow, I'll turn around and go, you know what? Yes. That is what a Champions League club should be acting like. So, Soren, for example, Soren and Kuva, I'll aim this at you two. What I love is whenever Spurs make a signing that's half decent, fans that, I mean, Levy in, if they want to call me Levy out, whatever, will turn around and go, oh my God, you need to apologise to Daniel Levy.
No.
For what? For 20 years of crap, you sign a couple of good players. So Milenkovic-Savic, that sort of signing, I know we're just using him. I'm not saying him, but we're using him for example's sake. That's the sort of player that I was expecting in this window. The sort of player where you go, Conte's got pull. Now, the last thing I'll say, just quickly, because otherwise I can feel a massive rant coming on. I'm not going to go down that route. I was told by all these people that are telling me now that Conte has got a project and it's 3 or 4 years. I was explicitly told, Kuva, Conte wasn't here to finish fourth. Conte's here to win the league immediately. He's here to win titles. He's being backed. This isn't a project. Now, all of a sudden, that the window has been, and all these fans have gone, oh, it's a project. Am I not right, Kuva? Is that not what's happened?
Seems to be. I mean, it's hard to believe that Conte's satisfied with what's happened so far. He has to say it is, because I mean, it's his job to keep. It's part of his job to keep peace with the chairman and not sort of drag things out into the open in press conferences. I mean, he was getting into trouble with it before, wasn't he?
Right. Hinting
at things not quite being what he was satisfied with. So when you're getting paid that much, you're going to toe the line a bit you want your payday. But nobody can tell me that Conte is satisfied with Emerson Royale and Doherty as his right wing back choices. I don't care what anybody says. If that's the case, then Conte is not the manager I thought he was.
I think you've got to look at it another way. I mean, none of us are going to ever say that he's got to be happy with those players. But there is a realistic sense of it that we can't change every player all at once. And
we haven't changed any.
No, but just let me finish. They're the ones we should be changing. You know, we all do agree with that, but for some reason we haven't. And I'll go back to the conversation we had the other day. How many right wing backs have we been linked to? None other than Jed Spence. And I don't understand why, because we know that's the position we should be strengthening. But
so why? The thing is, we could have killed two birds with one stone, couldn't we? Just get a quality young wing back.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no argument against you, because we keep saying the same things. We just kind of get there in a slightly different line. But we all do agree with the same thing. But the one thing I will say is, and I mean, I could be totally wrong, and I might get shot down for this. I don't see Conte being a toe the line type manager. If he's got something to say, I think he's going to say it. So if we saw him come out after the game when we lost and said, look, if I'm not the right manager for this club, I'm going to go. That's him. Now, there must be some reason that he's not going down that line at the moment. I'm not saying he's happy with the players, but he's got to be happy with something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
lifestyle.
understand it myself, because
His contract.
No,
million.
are you telling me Conte couldn't leave us today and go and get the same type of contract with another team?
No, it's all about timing, right?
He could have gone to PSG if he wanted. He'd have been on far more money than he is at Tottenham.
Conte had all the cards when he joined us. He could have asked for anything.
And
Levy would have to have paid it. That's how I see it anyway.
And I fully agree with you. He did have all the cards, but he obviously turned us down in the first place. Something changed for him to come back to us.
He said that he was still he was sad that he had left Inter. I think that's completely
come on.
I think it's all the bullshit, to be honest.
Levy offered him
he
10 million.
He didn't want to come to us for a reason. Then all of a sudden he wanted to, and it's not just the 14 million or whatever his salary is on, because he is a manager that could go to any club and get a job. Whether he's out of work for a year, he will get a job if he left us.
Can I just? Sorry, just quickly. I just want to bring up a point for us to talk about. Right? I'm not sure if you guys feel the same. I keep seeing this. Conte's happy, right? Conte's happy. Conte must be happy, so we should all like this window. First and foremost, Conte's here for a little time, right? We are the fans, right? We are the ones that will be. We were here before Conte. We will be here during Conte, and we will be here after Conte.
Yeah.
Is anyone else getting fed up of being told, well, if Conte wants him, I want him? Well, if Conte's
we have
happy,
this
I'm
every
happy.
window with every manager. Oh my god!
I got told this with Jose. I got told, well, Poch clearly doesn't want to buy any players when we weren't buying players. I'm sorry, but
I just think maybe that actually it's the ultimate challenge to manage Spurs, right? Because we never win a trophy. I think maybe Conte sees it as like to get one over Mourinho because he didn't manage to get the chance to win a trophy, to be honest. So I think maybe it's like also this ultimate challenge. Like if Mourinho didn't win anything with Spurs, I can put up with anything. I just want to beat him, like an ego thing. Just one thought I had. So might be the
thing is with that. The problem is, as fans, we're not going anywhere. We'll shout our disgrace. We'll shout whether we're happy. We're still going to be here. The problem is, we don't have that big a say in things. Some things.
That's why we all bitch and moan on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. That's why. Where you say we've all given up our sunny Friday. I mean, it's actually pretty drizzly down here. But no, we're too sad to be doing anything else. We're sat here having a moan about Tottenham Hotspur for fuck's sake. Look. If we don't win anything this year, if we got relegated this year, we'll be sat here next season saying what a shit season we had last year. We've got a new manager in, get Levy out, get Conte out, blah blah blah. But we'll still be here.
Well, this is the thing. Let's move the conversation towards this, guys. So, as I said earlier, it's shifted from Savva. He's not here for finish fourth. That's not Conte. He is here to win. He's being backed. It's now shifted to, Spencer and Adoji. These are players for the future. This Ashley Phillips from Blackburn. He's here. Oh, that means he's here for a 3 or 4 year project. Cool. I'm cool with that. So let me ask you guys the question. With all that in mind, what does Conte need to do this season for it to be improvement? And what does he need to do, or what would need to happen for it to be failure? Because surely fourth again is stagnation. I'm just asking a question.
I think top 3 in the trophy for me. Top 3 in the trophy is improvement.
Top 3?
Yeah, top 3.
I think top 4 in a trophy is improvement because you haven't won a trophy for the last trophy that was in my lifetime was 2008. I've seen one trophy once.
Title,
I really want a trophy.
Can we ban this young kid? He's making me feel even older.
So let me ask you a question then, AJ. So if Spurs, let's take cups out of it for a second. Let's just assume cups don't exist. Over the course of a 38-game season, if Antonio Conte finishes 5th this year, just ifs, by the way, in the chat, if. I don't want that to be the soundbite tomorrow morning. Savva says we'll finish 5th. If we were to finish 5th, and he's had this window that all of these fans in the chat are telling me he loved and he signed it off and these are his players, has he failed?
Yeah. I can't see why he hasn't failed. He got top 4 with a worse team last year and he's got top 5 with everyone saying, oh yeah, this window's great. How has he gone down a place then? Mm-hmm. If it's so good, how has he lost a place and not won a trophy? But that's what I don't get.
And what will the excuse be from all these people that are telling me that we're going to finish 2nd and 3rd? I'm not saying we won't.
It'd be more competition, more games. Oh, we're in the Champions League, we're more fatigued. What a load of rubbish. We can perform the same amount.
Agreed. Nico, sorry, Goalkeeper, I'll go to Nico after.
Yeah, I was just going to say also, lots of fans saying about how many players we got in. So what if we get extra competitions like Champions League? If we got in this many players and they're all good, then it shouldn't be a problem, should it?
No, absolutely. Just quickly, Aubameyang revival. Yeah, Jose Mourinho also won a European competition and an English competition in his 2 years at Man United. So for all the, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to have a Jose conversation, but for all the shit that man gets, he don't half like winning, doesn't he? Yep. He don't half win.
I'll take his level of failure any day.
Yeah. He's a massive failure, that man. Nico, I want to move the conversation slightly away I want to ask everyone's opinion, and I'll start with you, Nico. The rest of you keep your answers in. Who's had the best transfer window? None of this who's won it. I don't understand that. But who's had the best transfer window for their own needs?
That's very hard, but I think actually Chelsea has a lot better than people give them credit for. I think this Koulibaly looks awesome. I would love to have him, and I think they're so much more clinical and just do their business. Like, it's not like all this bullshit. They just get their player. City, of course, also just goes out and buys quality. And also they managed to get in really good players cheap. And they're a rich club. Like, you would maybe think that the other clubs, like it's City, we're going to charge them the earth. But they managed to get in also really great talents while not overpaying for the talents. They're good in every department, like Liverpool. So I would just say those two clubs. It's so hard to pinpoint now. Also, it's not closed, so it's hard to answer. Really hard.
Coover, I'll come to you. Who's had the best transfer window for what they need for them?
For me, Man City, easy. Go out and sign one of the best strikers in the world, and it almost goes under the radar that they've also signed another one of the best strikers in the world. Because people look at Haaland, it's all about Haaland, but they got Alvarez as well. He's pretty bloody good, that player. And then they backed it up with just strengthening the midfield, everything. It's all under the radar, and they got rid of some of their surplus players, and they have made a profit, haven't they? Must be close to it if they haven't.
Yeah.
What a window. What a window.
Okay, so we had Chelsea, City. I'll come to you in 1 second. I just want to... Sorry, I like telling them when they're wrong. Sorry, it's a fault I've got into my nervous system. Ebionite revival. Jose Mourinho has not been relevant for at least a decade. Well, funnily enough, I have the power of using my fingers to work Wikipedia. And I'm just looking at what Jose Mourinho has won in the last decade of being a manager. He has seven trophies in the last decade, and yet he's been irrelevant. Somebody's got to make this stick in my head. I don't understand. 7 trophies in 10 years, and he's
that's at least 3 years where he hasn't won anything, isn't it?
But we're still waiting for like 14 years ourselves, so you know.
Can you imagine?
If you can't win a trophy a year, you're irrelevant.
We have got way more Audi Cups than he's got.
Can you imagine, right? If Spurs won 7 trophies in a decade, how we would be lauding that over Arsenal, Chelsea. Basically, we'd be telling our grandmas, we'd be telling everyone, wouldn't we? People in the supermarket.
It would literally be the most successful period in the club's history.
Right. Yeah. And yet a man that's actually lived that is not relevant. Unbelievable. Just quickly, I am coming to you as Golden Boot 23 has said, he shouted at me. He wants me to read this. I've seen it up the top. Would Conte have accepted this window into Milan? No, they don't buy. They don't buy the likes of Jed Spence. They don't buy those types of players. Nico's gone Chelsea. Coover's gone City. You giving me any different answers?
Not really. Man City, for sure.
Man City?
Yeah. It's pretty simple as to why. I mean, they got Haaland. And the players they've let go, they're replaced. Again, with City, they didn't need a lot of work, to be honest. Apart from Haaland, just a couple more additions, they've been all right. And yeah, I'd probably say Man City.
Mm-hmm. Okay. AJ, can you give me any other answer other than Chelsea and Man City?
Yeah, I was going to say Nottingham Forest because, 16 players in, that's got to be pretty good, especially if I think they might stay up. I think they might even get, might get Europa Conference League if they're like really pushing really hard. I think they might get Europe, but it's just all down to the mentality of the players in that team.
It's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. You're sticking with Forest, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, Forrest. Soren, are you going to back Spurs?
That's controversial, actually. I'm going to say Tottenham. No, I'm not actually.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see some. No, I mean, I am impressed with what Chelsea have done, to be honest with you. But just jumping back a question, 5th place in a cup is not progression for me.
Nope.
No, anybody who says below 4th and we win a cup, no, I'm not saying anybody can win it because obviously we can't. But the cup, winning a cup is a luck type thing. It's not necessarily that you've deserved it all the way through, because you can have a really shitty run or you could have a really easy run. To me, progression is a minimum, obviously, of top 4, but with a little bit more style than we did it last year. We've got to earn top 4 rather than it be kind of handed to us this time. And we've got to be closer to everybody else.
Yeah, what about just
really quickly? Sorry, guys, really, really quickly. And this, I'm not joking with this either. There is a account that has just been made about me on Instagram. I don't mind it on YouTube, but on Instagram, called Savva Talks Spurs with another S at the end, who is messaging 1 million people telling them that they've won free tickets for Tottenham v Wolves. Please, it is not me. My account. Jesus Christ, I'll show you. It's just a shame that I'm getting, look at all these messages coming in telling me that have they won a ticket, blah, blah, blah. If you would be so kind, could you please report it if you see it? Because that's the sort of shit that really does mess with my life.
There's a Kulusevski one about a shirt being signed, wasn't there, on Twitter like a few months back? Do you know what's come of that?
So say that again.
There was a Kulusevski account on Twitter saying, to celebrate me joining Twitter, I'm giving us free signed shirt away. Do you know if that's been dealt with or not?
Oh, mate, I'm not on Twitter for this very reason. Look, let me chuck in a question, and then I'm just going to dip out for 1 minute. Kuva, I'll start with you.
It anyway, so.
Thank you, Kuva. I'm going to start with you, and then you pass it round. I want to talk about this. Something that came up last night on the show you were on, Kuva, was that I was told that Richarlison was better than Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I'm just going to go away.
No.
You discuss. I'll be back in a minute.
Well, that's an interesting one for me, because I don't even compare the two players. Totally different sort of characters, totally different sort of roles. For me, Aubameyang is out-and-out goal scorer, offers nothing else. I think he's better at doing just that than Richarlison is. But Richarlison's the all-round player for me. He's the combative. He chases down players. He offers his strength and his aggression. He messes up the other team. He offers shithousery. There's a lot more to his game. He's a lot more robust player. So comparing the two, I don't like doing it. I mean, Aubameyang has got a great goal-scoring record. It speaks for itself. Richarlison, you look at different qualities in Richarlison.
If you look at Aubameyang in his Dortmund era, he's arguably the best striker in like Bundesliga. I'd say he's even better than Lewandowski. But Richarlison, having scored, I think it was like 16 goals last season in that terrible Everton side, you've got to give some huge props to that guy. Like, if he's doing that, then like, what can't he do? Especially if you've got like, say he went to City, he'd be banging in goals, same amount as Haaland, I'd say, because of the passing. It's not about the player's ability. It's about like what team they're in. And he's performing in a terrible Everton side and he's getting 16 goals.
Yeah.
I kind of disagree with that. I think Aubameyang is a lot better player than Richarlison, to be honest.
No,
right now.
Look, one plays for Woolwich Wanderers and one plays in Lillywhite. There's only one winner here.
No, but I'm just being honest. Aubameyang for me is a better player than Richarlison.
Yeah, but it's a different position.
Right now, like right in this moment.
No, because you can't say that. The debate started on that stream because they were saying Richarlison is like a striker, right? Versus Aubameyang is like a striker. So you can't tell me Aubameyang's not better because he is. For me, he's a better player. Yeah. This is my opinion, right?
No, to me, the argument would be he's a better striker, but he's also further down his career than Richarlison is. So You know, when it's like saying which was the better player, you know, say Maradona or somebody at Pele. The two different positions, 2 different eras. You need to, if you're going to do that, which is the better striker then, Kane or Aubameyang?
I'd say Kane.
Yeah, you can't.
Right.
Yeah,
So
Kane.
well, you know, so
It doesn't mean
which
you
is
still
the
compare them.
better player? You know, Kevin De Bruyne or Aubameyang? Well, you can't.
Kane or Shearer, that would be a good comparison.
Yeah, that's a good debate, actually.
You've got to say
point
Shearer,
is,
though, 'cause he's finished his
you're
career.
talking 2 different styles of player. That's the
No,
problem.
Yeah,
Richarlison and Aubameyang are in the
Yeah.
same era. How can you say they're not in the same
Pardon?
era?
Who?
Did you say Aubameyang and Richarlison not in the same era?
No, I said the further down, the different stages of the career. Richarlison is 25. Aubameyang's what, 30, 31, is he?
Yeah, but they're
So
comparing to
but we're going on what he's done over his career, and against Richarlison, what he's done over. Well, Richarlison in 5 years' time might be far better than what Aubameyang is now, or have a better career than what Aubameyang has. That's my argument. That Richarlison isn't an out-and-out striker. To me, he isn't anyway.
And why did we sign him then as a backup striker?
We didn't sign him as
Because he
a
can
backup.
play left wing,
We
he can play
signed him
right
as a
wing.
utility
Yeah, I know,
player.
but obviously the whole point was to solve this Kane issue, right?
No, it wasn't. It was a front 3 player, so he can play left, right, or centre. Aubameyang is an out-and-out striker.
Yeah, but Aubameyang also played wide left for Arsenal for a period, and he played wide right, I think.
But he's more of an out-and-out striker, isn't he?
Yeah, but they still play the same positions.
But they're bringing different qualities. It's different roles within those positions, isn't it?
And he's also 5 years further. I mean, go back 6 years for Aubameyang when he was kind of just making a big name for himself. Then you could probably say at that stage Aubameyang was slightly better than Richarlison is at this stage of his career. But we don't know where Richarlison might go.
I know, but you forget Aubameyang was also like the talisman for Dortmund as well for like a long period of time.
Yeah, that was like 2017.
Yeah,
that's
5 years
what I'm
ago.
saying. At the stages, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, at the same stage as what Richarlison is now, then you would have said at that stage, Aubameyang was a far better player. What I'm saying is, though, we don't know where Richarlison will be in 5 years' time.
We have Richarlison, so that's like, we got him.
Oh, there's another good comparison. How about Sheringham Shearer? Because I'd say Sheringham's a better footballer, but Shearer's a better goal scorer.
Yeah,
Shearer.
Well, yes, I was going to say Sheringham probably scored nicer goals, but then he scored far more goals. Shearer scored far, but then in a few years' time, Kane will have scored more goals than Shearer did. Hopefully,
certainly hope so.
I've got
by the end of
who's
next
worse,
season,
Soldado or Ndombele?
Who?
Soldado or Ndombele?
But that's a striker in the midfield.
Well, I'd sooner have Soldado.
Yeah, Soldado.
This is an argument that is very interesting. Soldado was a damn good striker in a very poor team that never gave him the. If you watch him, when he stopped making runs because nobody knew how to pass to him, he wasn't a poor player. He was a good player in a shit team that couldn't give him any bloody passes. As soon as he left Tottenham, he was back on form again. Before he came to us, he was on form. We just played him wrong. So
we had inverted wingers for a striker that needed crosses. I didn't
exactly. If you watched him, he'd make a run and you think, why didn't nobody pass to him? Because we couldn't pass him the ball. We weren't good enough to get him the ball. He could have been a top striker for us. But again, it's what ifs. Soldado was a good little player. So
what about this?
Oh,
what about this?
All right.
I was about to say, what subject should we get on to?
He's gone now.
How negative if Savva? Is there anybody on YouTube more negative than Savva?
Lee Gunner for Arsenal. Lee Gunner's more negative.
He's not meant to bloody answer. Sorry about that, guys. I've literally looked at my Instagram and I've got about 50 people message me going, is this true? Have I won tickets? And basically someone's made a fake account. Literally my photo, my name, but with an extra S on the end of S. And they're sending around an email saying, you've won 2 tickets. Please click on this link. I'm not going to click on it. I don't know what it is, but I just had to nip that in the bud. And unfortunately, there are human beings like that are around. Just for the record, Richarlison has not got he can't lace Aubameyang's boots. I'm just going to say that. Sorry, I was listening to all of your talk in the background. Guys, let's move it on to Wolves tomorrow. I know that Kuva and I slightly touched on this earlier. Are we all expecting a straightforward? Is anyone expecting there to be a slight upset, or would it even be an upset? Let me start with you, AJ. What are you expecting from tomorrow?
Well, I'll actually be at the game, so that's exciting. First game in a couple of years. But I think I'll be expecting something like Southampton. Without like the 4-1, I'd say like maybe 2-1, because obviously Conte's not going to be there. I think Wolves will get the first goal. We'll go into the second half 1-1, and will be a late winner from Sanchez, I'm going to say.
Oh.
That's a hell of a take.
Yeah, I was going to say Sanchez.
Wow. Okay. Haz, what are you thinking? And just before you do, big up to AJ. Good luck with your fight tomorrow. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much.
Can you imagine if that actually was Anthony Joshua?
if that was Anthony Joshua and he only gave me £1.79 as a super chat.
Yeah, but he ain't earning as much on this fight, is he?
Then you would say thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, please don't punch me in the face. Thank you. Yeah. Go on, Haz. Sorry, mate. What's your call for tomorrow?
But like for me, I'm actually quite scared of tomorrow's game more than Southampton, because not just last year that we lost to Wolves, but also say under Mourinho we lost to Wolves, under Pochettino we lost to Wolves, all at home. So I don't think it's anywhere near as straightforward as everyone thinks. And I'm actually quite frightened about them on the counter-attack. And they have a midfield also that can hurt us. You know, got Moutinho, the new player that joined as well. We've got Neves. We always seem to struggle playing against them in midfield. And I think Conte, for me, has to play a 3-5-2 tomorrow to counteract it. As in
Do you think he will?
He should. I don't think he will.
Really?
I don't think he will, but I think he should. Because I think we might get overrun in midfield if we play a 4-3-4-3 instead of a 3-5-2. And it could be a problem. So I do think we'll win, maybe like 2-1, like AJ said. But it'll be very scrappy. We might have to even score like a penalty or something to win it. I just don't see it going very smoothly, to be honest, at all.
Okay. All right. Soren, what are you thinking? Wolves at home. They don't score many goals. We look a bit ropey at the back. What are we thinking?
Tottenham win. Emerson Royale's going to score the winner if we're going down that line. Højbjerg's going to get a hat-trick. Seriously, I think 2-0. I've got this 2-0, but then look what I said about Chelsea as well. So, 2-0 Spurs, looking quite comfortable. And Conte is going to run down the steps at the end with his fist pumping. But with that, Savva, I'm going to have to go because the wife just told me to get the tea on. So
yeah, as always, no worries. Okay, thanks for coming on, Soren.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, mate.
Nico, what are we going for tomorrow? Wolverhampton Wanderers at home. It's got to be 3 points, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say also 2-1 because I'm looking at the central midfield. I don't think we will control it. I remember Nuno really struggling. We won almost at the end of the match, right? Backs against the wall. They will match our system with 3 at the back. They have enthusiasm with new players. Very, very an early match as well. I don't know, something with the early matches. So I would say 2-1, but very like nail-biting stuff.
Okay, nail-biting. Okay, Kuva. Yeah. I've spoke to you. You said earlier. I mean, is it going to be nail-biting? Is this going to be like last year's game v Wolves, or have we ironed out those issues?
Can't see how we've ironed out those issues if we're still going to have the same lineup. So depends who we have playing. If Perisic starting will improve the team massively straight away. So would Basuma. As we were talking about earlier in the show, Wolves have changed the way they play. So they're not playing with that back 3 now, are they? They're more changing towards a 4-3-3 or in a sort of transitional phase where they're heading towards that. They certainly seem to be looking at getting a more attack-minded team together. But they're not there yet, are they? And
No.
they don't have anybody that really jumps off the page that they think that's a real goal threat. Except for in my book, then Donko, who's such a useless lump, he's bound to score.
Do we know, Coover, is Moutinho available? Do we know? I've not seen him play.
He's always a long-term injured, isn't he? It seems to be
unavailable. It said unavailable in the app.
He's unavailable. So it is
going
to be
play as well. Is it Nunes? Is that his name, Nunes?
I don't know. Does anyone in the chat know? Did Nunes register in time? I know that the registration was midday today.
It said in the Who Score app says he might be available.
He might be available.
Even if he is, it's a bit late to bring him into a team, is it? Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. Some people are happy to do that. I think the other one to look at as well is one that always haunts us. Home games. How many times does the opposition goalkeeper turn up and play a blinder? And they've got one of the best goalkeepers in the league. If that happens, I'll be happy. If he's going to have one of those sorts of games, I'll be happy if we scrape a 1-0.
And they have Traore as well, back on loan, right?
Hmm?
They loaned up Cody. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's back on loan. Adama
Everton. Yeah,
he's back.
So they can always go back to a more familiar lineup.
They signed this Collins guy, I think, as a replacement. I don't know what his name. Something Collins.
Yeah, Collins. Was that the guy from Burnley?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting. I mean, do you guys feel that there's going to be any drop off from Wolves? Because what I mean by that is Wolves always difficult to play against. They don't concede many. Even at the beginning of this season, they don't concede many goals. They're not prolific up front, but they're always an awkward opponent. And I always thought a lot of that was down to the three at the back with the wing backs, and then 2 or 3 in the middle. Do you think that they're going to go a bit more open with the 4-2-3-1, or do you think that we could see a new Wolves and they'll be better given time?
No, but we complain about
lack of... or for tomorrow. Sorry. Are you talking in general or just for tomorrow?
In general. I mean, they're not a bad team, are they? So
I don't know. It depends because how they want to shape differently. Because I've always known Wolves play a 3 at the back, so for them to transition into a 4 is going to take like a year or so, I think, to fully settle.
Depending on the quality of the new signings.
Exactly.
Coover, what do you reckon, mate? Are they gonna be a different proposition? And I hate saying this sentence, but is this a good time to play them when they've just changed formation?
Nah, they're kind of a bogey team for us, aren't they? It's just one of those fixtures where I just want it out of the way. I just want us to get the 3 points no matter what happens. Just get over the line somehow. I think we always take them for granted. Our fans are always coming out with, it'll be easy, 4-1, 5-0. It's never like that against them. This season, I think, what do they have? They lost narrowly 2-1, I think, Leeds, and drew with Fulham.
They haven't won a game yet, so they'll be coming to
but again, they're not getting rolled over either. It's tight games all the time. Saab got a penalty save against Mitrovic as well, didn't he? Against Fulham. So you're looking at a top goalkeeper and a team that generally tends to frustrate us. So cakewalk, no. Have we got enough to overcome them? I think so. I'm thinking I'll go for a squeaky bum 2-1 win.
Squeaky bum. Okay. The big thing for me tomorrow, guys, is we're now at a position where Doherty should be fit again. Perisic, I'm sorry, I fail to believe that he's still not fit. What happens with our wing backs tomorrow? And I'll be really disappointed if it is Sessegnon and Royal again. Who are you guys hoping to see? What are you hoping for?
I want to see Perisic and Doherty, personally.
Why?
Well, Sessegnon is self-explanatory in some ways. He's just been awful. Emerson, for me, he's not a wing back. And I think with us playing Wolves, a team that Doherty used to play for, it just seems logical to put him in as well.
Okay. AJ, who are the 2 wing backs for you?
I think, I'm hoping to see Perisic and Doherty, but
I feel like we'll see Sessegnon and Emerson purely for the fact that Conte is doing his. I think he's doing a thing where he's like every game he's putting the subs in earlier and earlier until it becomes a first 11. So I think maybe when we get to like mid-September, like early October time, we'll see the first 11 of Bissouma, Perisic, and all these players, and then rotating Kane and Richarlison, which I think in some respects is smart, but then in others it's really annoying. You know, you've just signed these an amazing player like Perisic or Bissouma, and you're not seeing them play for a while. It's kind of like, you know, Conte, what are you doing? You've just signed these players for nothing.
Yeah. Nico, are you what are we seeing tomorrow? I mean, I really hope, and AJ, no offense, I really hope AJ is wrong. I do not want to see Sessegnon and Royal in Spurs shirts. I just find it very confusing as to how they're at my club.
He's not wrong. He's going to start with Sessegnon and Royal because he trusts them, and we don't know why. We can't even possibly. It's the truth. So trust these players.
Nico, why not Perisic yet? Like, why? We must be the only club that go and buy someone that is considerably better than the player they're replacing, and don't chuck them straight in. Like it just.
I'm going to try to be a bit deep here. Maybe it's because it's about the chemistry and they understand the system, and he likes consistency, and it's a lot more than we think. Actually receiving all the tiny instructions or something. Just trying to be a bit deep when it comes to this, because I see the same as you, Savva. Miles off in terms of quality on the ball and everything, but it is more than we know. We don't have the deep knowledge, right? Like the tactical knowledge. Let's be honest, right?
There was something puzzling, wasn't there, the other week when Conte said something along the lines of, with Perisic, he's not the player I remember.
Really?
Yeah, it was like one of those comments where, what do you read into that? Is it is it he's fitter, or is it he's
good or
gone
bad?
bad? Or perhaps he's just more confident now than he used to be because he's been there, done it.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one.
Yeah, he's a mentor to Sessegnon, maybe.
I think this is Sessegnon's last chance for me. If he doesn't do it this year, he can go.
So
I've had it enough.
To be fair to Sessegnon, like if you play him in the big teams, like against Liverpool, he pocketed Salah in that Liverpool game at the end of the season.
Savva,
he's quite good.
Yeah, Savva went it.
No, sorry. Again, this is another one of those sayings. Sessegnon pocketed Salah again. Right, AJ, I'll tell you what does that mean? In this new age language, what does that mean?
Pocketed is like, you've controlled him, you didn't let him have many chances, you tackled him well, just like an all around, like keeping him quiet kind of thing. So
I've got another way of looking at this, because if you actually watch that game, he skinned Sessegnon multiple times. He put him on his backside multiple times. The problem was Spurs had so many men behind the ball that when Salah got anywhere near our 18-yard box, there was nowhere to go. Now, that's great defending, but when we say pocketed, I saw him go on his arse because Salah took him on 2 or 3 times. I don't understand it. Like, I feel like the moment someone doesn't score, they're pocketed. Sorry, that's just me. Sorry, I just don't. I don't get it. Kuva,
that's a fair point. Yeah.
I'll say pocketed is what happened to Sonny and Kulusevski against Chelsea.
Yeah, right. That's pocketed.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pocketed. Kuva, are we going to see them tomorrow? Are we going to see the dynamic wing backs that are...
Oh, God.
We are, aren't we?
I was enjoying the show, and then
I know.
Sessegnon and bloody Emerson.
Pocketed.
It's like, yeah, they're going to start. You just know they're going to start, don't you?
The number of fans I speak to, it really feels like a 50-50 with those two. Like, when I see the team sheet, honestly, every week when they're in it, a little bit of me dies. I'm like, because it's not exciting. Wing backs in a wing back formation, they're the players you look to for your excitement, for your ball carrying.
And this constant narrative of, oh, it's not Emerson's fault. If he was played at right back,
Oh.
he was bought to be a right back.
God.
Well, under Nuno, who played with wing backs at Wolves, like Doherty. It's
Yeah,
like,
I
no,
have a slightly different perspective there, just to make it a bit more, just different. Because if you have these 5 players at the back and they all are consistent and not injured, even though they don't take a lot of risks, you don't concede if you have good chemistry, right? And you do very few mistakes. Maybe he thinks this way, like not much risk because they don't ever take on their man, as Savva says, but they don't lose the ball. So you contain the ball in the team. So it might just be the consistency is so important. He doesn't want to mess with the chemistry.
But can I ask then, if that's the case, how do we ever grow as a team? Like, look at Chelsea, right? Chelsea, for example, at the weekend, Cucurella straight in. And look how well he played. Straight in, had a really good game. Spurs, we're sitting there against Chelsea, one of our biggest rivals, probably one of the 2 toughest away games that we have each year. And I'm thinking, you've got to play Perisic. You've got Sessegnon. And what happened to Sessegnon Royal?
Skinned. Yeah.
Every time. I just don't understand it. Guys, we are going to finish up in about 4 minutes. Just before we go, I want to get your predictions on. I want to get your predictions on where we're going to finish this season. I know we've done this a lot, but with things that have changed and other clubs buying players, I'd love to know what you guys think. So, Nico, where are we going to finish this season?
Yeah, 4th place and no trophy. Period.
4th place and no trophy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. AJ?
4th place and FA Cup or Carabao Cup.
Okay. 4th place and FA Cup. I've got to take one from you, mate.
FA Cup.
FA Cup. Okay, like it. Has?
I'm going to scrape 3rd, and that's it.
We're going to scrape 3rd above who?
At Chelsea.
Yeah? Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Are you sure? You don't sound like you do. There was
honestly, just because the way we equalised in that game, it was just so like shithousery in some ways, like because we didn't deserve anything from the game. So, like for me, psychologically, I'm thinking, oh, maybe we'll finish above them now because.
What, 2 games in?
Yeah.
a 96th minute goal in the 2nd game of the season. So let me ask you a quick question on that then, Has. So this is the mindset of Spurs fans. This is what I love. So a 96th minute goal in a game where we didn't deserve anything, we're going to finish above them. But the 90 minutes in which they absolutely played us off the park and gave us a footballing lesson means they're going to finish below us, right?
It's because if we play them at home, I think there's a better chance we might beat them now.
But you do realise finishing front of
we played so badly that we got a point. So you expect to play better, we might get more.
Yeah, but Has, you do realise finishing 3rd or 4th isn't just about the 2 games.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, for me, I don't know. I just think we're going to finish 3rd. Let's call it a feed-in. But I don't think it'll be, like, convincingly. I think it'll be, like, a proper scrappy one, like, by, like, a point.
Okay.
But I don't think we win a trophy, though. I don't see us winning a trophy.
You don't? Okay, so that's 4th. So far, before Kuva, we've got 4th, no trophy, 4th and an FA Cup, 3rd and no trophy. Kuva, what are you going for?
8th.
You already know.
Come on, not the quad.
Gonna win the league.
The quadruple is on, mate. Until we're out, we're in for the quad. Quad all the way. Best team in the world. Bring it on. Right. If transfer window as it stands, I think we're going to be struggling to hold on to 4th. I think it's going to be a real fight just to get 4th still. Because other teams are improving. Have we improved significantly more? No, I don't think we have. I think all we've done is try and cement our place with I don't really see any kick on from it. So when we do have the fall off and some players out of the team, we won't fall as badly in terms of performance, but I don't think we've significantly raised our level. I don't think we've addressed some key areas in this window, and it's going to cost us. This weekend could be one of the first times that it costs us. With Romero out of the team, that defence looks piss weak. And there we go. But I'm still going on the outrageously optimistic idea that we're actually going to sign more players in this window. like a Milinkovic Savic and a Mela maybe from Atalanta, the wing back, maybe even a De Vrij or someone like that for centre back. Why not? I'm dreaming for it. So if we go for that, then second place, couple of domestic trophies, semi-finals of the Champions League, great season. That'll do.
Brilliant. I'm glad that's happening. By the way, the breaking news is that Antonio Conte has not been banned, so he will be on the touchline tomorrow.
Oh, really good. Thank God.
Nice.
No more Ryan
Thank God. Like it was going to make a difference against Wolves. Like,
Is
You
is
say
Tuchel still banned though?
yeah, Tuchel's banned.
Good. That
Hey.
just rubs the salt in a bit more, doesn't it?
Look, Kuva, I agree. Sorry, there was someone who put something that did make me laugh. Where is the clown? There he is. Said, just tell Savva we suck and he'd be happy. Listen, Savva has not once said we suck. Savva, for the whole window, has had the same opinion, and it's always been that we're going to finish fourth. Like Kuva, I think that we are the fourth best team in the league. Do I think we can finish third? Possibly, but will we? Oh, good God! Will we finish third? Definitely, I don't think so. Could we? Yes. Could we finish fifth? I think we could. It depends what Arsenal do. I just think one or two more players gets us third. I feel like watching last week did show me the golfing class between us and Chelsea. And if Chelsea gets a forward like Aubameyang, I worry. But guys, I do need to stop the show. Thank you very much for your time. Kuva, Haz, AJ, Nico, everyone in the chat. Keep smashing the like button and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Cheers, lads.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.